It was about 10 minutes in and I just wanted to leave the theater. I just knew I wouldn't enjoy this film right off the bat. The story is really a wrong place, wrong time kind of film, and people around Hank go, bye-bye, turn it off. Hank is a bartender who obviously drinks too much and wants to lay some pipe to Nepo baby Zoe Kravitz. I think her and Austin Butler did have some really good chemistry overall, and it made you really believe they wanted to get it on.
Come on, kids, get a room.
When his neighbor wants him to take care of his cat while he goes to London, this is where the story truly begins. And it's a lot of going downhill from here on out. Then we got Hank Boy here just trying to get food for his cat, and he gets jumped by these Russian dudes who want to see where Russ is. He gets beat up and loses a damn kidney. And honestly, he would have lost a hell of a lot more because his ribs would have been absolutely shattered. So it wouldn't just be a few days in the hospital, it'd be maybe a month or so, if not longer. He then thinks to himself, this punk rocker dude got him into some deep shit, that Nepo baby wants him to quit drinking, and it's kinda unlikely. Now Hank does have some trauma from his past after almost getting drafted into professional baseball, but his drinking caused him to kill his friend in a car crash. I'm not gonna go deep dive into huge spoilers or anything, but if you watch the trailer, you can kind of predict what this movie is really about. He finds a key and then goes drinking hard again, and of course he would. And then he loses the key, and then he wakes up to the Russian dude and now a Puerto Rican dude. Then the Hebrew dudes tag along to get that key, and it just seems like all these people are just trying to get that dough. Punk rocker dude just wanted to get the fuck out of there with the dough, but I think he was a little bit silly in doing so. He should have just left town right away, but he was like, nah, I'm just gonna do some other shit for now. If you're gonna steal a bunch of money, dude, why don't you just leave? Then it just becomes a twist and turns film in a way. Some characters switch sides and then turn on each other. I'm not really sure why they had such a big emphasis on this cat. Sure, it was in the book or whatever, but he goes from not liking the cat to having to save it a bunch of times. And then he just takes it around with him everywhere he goes. I'm like, okay? And viewing the trailer, I didn't think the cat would be such a big part of this film, but it really is. And don't get me wrong, I love cats, I just thought this was really stupid. There's some really good twists about certain people going, bye-bye, turn it off. And then there's some moments I wish certain characters were in the film a little bit longer, like Russ and the Nepo baby. And I do think it could have had a little more impact throughout the film if their characters were a little more in there. I know Hank is supposed to be just like an everyday kind of character, but I did think he was weak overall. He just got himself into a situation that got him into a lot of trouble. It was kind of hard to really relate with him and his character because a lot of his issues were himself causing them. And then there's one thing I really liked is how drinking doesn't help you in any capacity. I'm always glad to see a film showing that drinking leads to certain issues, and sometimes certain events in your life is just a big wake-up call. My other question was, why is there a black detective female? They totally shoehorned this DEI crap in here. It's getting really damn annoying. And I do think the funny thing about this is that she was the most insensitive detective ever. I was like, god damn, this chick has no soul! There's a part where the Hebrew dudes shoot up this place and then they come back to it later and nobody notices that these guys were the culprits or anything. They just shot up the place and they're like, hey guys, yeah, we're just gonna do business across the street. That was so dumb. Nobody noticed that these guys made everybody go, bye-bye, turn it off. These guys are so recognizable. They just go in the place and shoot it up. It's in the trailer, so at least you know that. It's trying to be this dark comedy or whatever. And it's just a lot of like the comedy stuff just didn't land. And I do realize that myself because writing comedy is very difficult at times. And it's very subjective. Because some people get butthurt about my reviews and some people don't. Some people are like, damn, this guy has a good take. Oh, and then there's other people that are like, no, This guy's got a shitty fucking take. The last 30 minutes to this film has some solid action in my opinion, but the setup to get there isn't worth the time. It's 107 minutes and it felt like it was pushing 3 hours. That's how slow the pacing is. And there was a point in the film I was like, I don't really care, just end the damn film. Honestly, that's just how I felt throughout this entire film. It's 10 minutes in, I was bored. I wasn't very interested in the story. Not a whole lot was going on. Sure, Hank was getting beat up or whatever, but the last half an hour is honestly the best part of it, but the first hour is not really worth your time. In a way, it gives you a bit of a payoff, but it makes you question, was it really worth it? Was it really worth to suffer through this? I don't think so. I will say there's no 10-minute hook in this film. It just takes a long time to really get going, and there's a lot of excessive crap that wasn't really necessary. And if this was on a streaming service, I guarantee you I'd shut it off in 10 minutes. The acting, the cinematography, and anything else to do with the technicals is just rock solid in this film. The funny thing about this is I don't really remember a music score. The writer Charlie Huston hasn't really made anything that's been good, and it kind of starts to make sense. I'm not expecting a movie to be better than his book or whatever, but I was just like, my golly, was it painful to get through this, especially the first hour. It was just really slow. I don't think it had much to do with Darren Aronofsky's directing. I think he did what he could do with this script. I do think maybe a different scriptwriter would have been good. Obviously, Darren Aronofsky likes to do this now, where he takes the writer of the books and then he gets them to write the screenplays, which I think can be good, but also at the same time not, because they might not comprehend either like pacing as well for the story. It honestly kind of reminded me of The Bike Riders in a way. It's the same type of thing, it's just things happening and it's just pretty boring. And nothing really happens in that film either. And it's just very unmemorable. I'm not gonna remember this film. And that's really unfortunate because there's so much potential in this film and it just, for some reason, it just didn't click with me. If you like slow-paced films at the beginning and then some action at the end, I do think you'll really like this film. But if you're not a fan of like a really slow build-up, I don't think you'll be a fan. And some people will just disagree with me, and that's just the nature of films. They're all very subjective, and that's it. Overall, this movie's a 4 out of 10. It's just trash, and the action at the end doesn't make up for a setup that was painfully slow. You won't remember this film at all. It's another one to add to the trash bin! The only thing this movie did was that it got caught stealing my damn time! Instead of watching Caught Stealing Your Time, watch more of my fun videos here.